Good morning, my dear student. Already we have studied in topic, its name is supply analysis. So we have been already studied introduction to the topic supply, then various types of concepts related to the supply, for example, total output, then what is the meaning of production, then what is the meaning and example of stock, and what is the main distinction between the stock and supply. Okay, so then we have studied the main meaning of only supply and define of supply, example of supply in the market. It means when price rises, supply also rises, and when price falls, supply also falls. Then we have studied the supply schedule as well as the supply curve, means individual supply schedule and individual supply curve, as well as the market supply schedule and market supply curve. So in that section we have studied totally opposite of demand analysis to topic supply analysis. That totally opposite, totally different but opposite. Demand, supply. Okay, supply, demand. The two words are much necessary to determine the price of commodity in any market. So today we are going to start the law of supply. Okay, this is a very important law in topic number 4. Its name is supply analysis or introduction to supply. Okay, so the law of supply. First, start introduction. Introduction. So highlight here, it is a fundamental principle of economic theory like law of demand. So highlight. The second highlight, Dr. Alfred Marshall, 1890, principles of economics, published in 1890. Okay, published in 1890. This law explains functional relationship between price and quantity supply. Quantity supply. Okay, so this is the highlight of introduction to the law of supply. Okay, आता एक लक्षात ठेवा या the law of supply म्हणजे पुरवठ्याच्या नियमाच्या प्रस्तावनेमध्ये असे जे हायलाइट केले आहेत ते तुम्ही ऍक्च्युअली ते वहीमध्ये करायचे नाही. ऐकून घ्या काय तुम्हाला समजण्यासाठी हे हायलाइट तुम्ही जर लक्षात ठेवले तर हे हायलाइट लक्षात ठेवल्यानंतर तुमच्या एक गोष्ट लक्षात येईल की या प्रत्येक शब्दाचा अर्थ संदर्भ लक्षात घेऊन आपण या ठिकाणी सेंटेन्स तयार करणार आहोत आणि मग हे सगळे स्टार 1 2 3 या 3 स्टार काढून तुम्हाला हे सगळं एकत्रीकरण करून त्याची इंट्रोडक्शन तयार करायची. एकदम सोपं काम आहे. ओके बघा स्टार्ट द लॉ ऑफ सप्लाय is a fundamental principle of economic theory like the law of supply. It means the law of supply is a fundamental principle of economic. Also, in the law of supply is also fundamental principles of economic theory such as related to the law of demand supply. And second, so the law of supply is explained or introduced by well-known economist. Its name is Dr. Alfred Marshall. Okay, in his book Principles of Economics, it was published in 1890. Okay, the law of supply is introduced by Dr. Alfred Marshall in his famous book Principles of Economics. It was published in the year 1890. Very important line. The law of supply is introduced by Dr. Alfred Marshall in his book Principles of Economics was published in 1890. So, third star, the law of supply. The law of supply explains there are functional relationship between price and quantity supply. So what is the meaning of functional relationship? It means in simple language, so this law explains there are direct relationship between the price and quantity supply. So it is called as there are. So the law of supply explains, so there are functional relationship between price and quantity supply. So it can be expressed as yes is equal to F in bracket Px. Okay, so it can be expressed symbolically. What is the symbol of functional relationship between the price and quantity supply? So, yes, x is equal to F in bracket Px. So, what is the meaning of yes? Yes is equal to supply. What is the meaning of F? F is equal to function. What is the meaning of P? P is equal to price. And x. What is the meaning of x? X symbol for the any commodity. COMMODITY. Okay, so it can be expressed as it can be expressed symbolically. So yes, x is equal to F in bracket Px. Okay, so what is the meaning of yes? So yes is equal to supply. What is the meaning of F? F is equal to function. Function means phalan. And so what is the meaning of P? P is equal to price. And what is the meaning of yes? So x for the any commodity like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Okay, so yes means supply पुरवठा, F means function, phalan, P means price, kimmat, and X means commodity, any types of the commodity means vastu. So it can be expressed as symbolically Sx is equal to F in bracket Px. So this is the main introduction to the law of supply. It is very important or it is very simple. So we have already been studied the introduction to the law of demand. That is totally opposition of taken the total opposition introduction to the law of supply. You have got or you are making the introduction to the law of supply. So once again, very simple. The law of supply is also fundamental principle of economic theory such as the law of demand. Okay, the law of demand is explained or introduced by Dr. Alfred Marshall in his famous book Principles of Economics. That book was published in 1890. Continue. The law of supply is explained. There are fundamental as well as there are functional relationship between the price and quantity supply. It means there are direct relationship between the price and quantity supply. So it can be expressed as or it can be expressed as symbolically. So what is the direct relationship between the price and quantity supply, or there are direct relationship between the quantity supply as follows or as below. So yes, x is equal to F in bracket Px. So what is the meaning of that formula? So S is equal to supply, and then F is equal to function, then P is equal to price, and you use the X for commodity, commodity. It means the supply is the function of price. Okay, according to Dr. Alfred Marshall, supply is the function of price. Is that clear? Okay. This is the main introduction to the law of supply. Okay, then, according to Dr. Alfred Marshall, there are functional relationship between price and quantity supply. It means there are direct relationship between the price and quantity supply. For example, so here is price of commodity. Okay, and then quantity supply. Okay, so price of commodity and quantity supply. So what is the relationship between the price and quantity supply? There are functional relationship as well as there are direct relationship between the price and quantity supply. So there are direct relationship. So what is the meaning of direct relationship? Okay, look at that arrow. When price of commodity rises, means increases. Price of commodity increases, rises, quantity supply also rises. So it is called as there are direct relationship between the price and quantity supply. And then when price of commodity falls, means decreases. When price of commodity decreases, so supply also supply also decreases. So very simple. Why? So it is, so there are pure example. So what is the direct relationship between the price and quantity supply? Because of there are direct relationship between the price and quantity supply. It means the when price rises, supply also rises, and when price falls, supply also falls. Direct relationship. Okay, it means when price increases, supply also increases, and when price decreases, supply also decreases. So this is the pure example of there are direct relationship between the price and quantity supply. So my dear students, so here are and the very simple introduction to the law of supply. Okay. Then we will start statement to the law of supply. What is the main statement? Is the first we are studying the introduction to the law of supply, and then statement of statement to the law of supply. Okay. First star introduction. Second star statement to the law of supply. So you are right into double inverted comma. Other things being constant or equal. Okay, so you are right. Any word, other thing remaining constant, other thing being same, or other things being equal, or other thing remaining constant. So meaning of all words is the simple. Other thing being constant, higher the price of commodity, higher the price of commodity, more is the quantity supply, and lower the price of commodity, so less is the quantity supply. So this is the very simple statement to the law of supply. Okay, so you write the first line, other thing being constant, means other thing remaining constant, higher the price of commodity, more is the quantity supply. Okay, it's simple. When price rises, supply also rises. In the word of Dr. Alfred Marshall, according to Dr. Alfred Marshall, higher the price of commodity, more is the quantity supply, and lower the price of commodity, less is the quantity supply. It means when price falls, supply also falls. In simple one case, other thing being constant, when price rises, supply also rises, and when price falls, supply also falls. But according to Dr. Alfred Marshall, other thing being constant, higher the price of commodity, more is the direct, more is the quantity supply, and lower is the price of commodity, less is the quantity supply. It means that there are direct relationship between the price and quantity supply. There is direct relationship price and supply. It means when price rises, supply also rises, and when price falls, supply also falls. Or in simple, when price increases, supply also increases, and when price decreases, supply also decreases, because of there are direct relationship between the price and quantity supply. And according to Dr. Alfred Marshall, or in the words of Dr. Marshall, other thing being constant, higher the price of commodity, more is the quantity supply, and lower is the price of commodity, less is the quantity supply. आणि शुद्ध मराठीमध्ये त्याला म्हणतात की ही इतर परिस्थिती कायम असताना, ते पुढे अज्यूम आपल्याला अझम्पशन स्टडी करायचे आहे. इतर परिस्थिती कायम असताना जेव्हा किमती वाढतात त्यावेळेस निश्चितच पुरवठा वाढवला जातो, आणि ज्यावेळी वस्तूच्या किमती कमी होतात त्यावेळी निश्चितच वस्तूचा पुरवठा कमी केला जातो. सिंपल मध्ये हायर, इट मीन्स अदर थिंग रिमेनिंग कॉन्स्टंट, हायर द प्राइस ऑफ कमोडिटी, more is the quantity supply, and lower is the price of commodity, less is the quantity supply. Less is the quantity supply. It means when price rises, supply also rises, and when price falls, supply also falls, because of the other thing remaining constant. Is that clear? Okay. So first we have studied introduction to the law of supply, second statement to the law of supply, and then third section of this law is explanation of the law of supply. So first, introduction to the law of supply, second, statement to the law of supply, and third, explanation of the law of supply with the help of supply schedule and with the help of supply curve. So first we have studied the explanation of the law of supply with the help of supply schedule or supply table. Okay. आता एक लक्षात ठेवा, इथे मी हेडिंग लिहित नाही, पण पहिला आपण काय अभ्यासलंय? इंट्रोडक्शन. दुसरं काय? नियमाचं विधान काय, नियमाचं वाक्य काय, मी स्टेटमेंट मेन. आणि तिसरं सेक्शन आपण स्टडी करतोय एक्सप्लेनेशन टू द लॉ ऑफ सप्लाय. आता एक्सप्लेनेशन मध्ये आपण दोन पार्ट करणार आहोत. ए आहे एक्सप्लेनेशन विथ द हेल्प ऑफ शेड्यूल ऑर टेबल, आणि बी पार्ट आहे एक्सप्लेनेशन विथ द हेल्प ऑफ सप्लाय कर्व. म्हणजे पहिलं कोष्टकाच्या सहाय्याने आपण पुरवठा नियम अभ्यासणार आहोत, आणि दुसरं आकृतीच्या सहाय्याने सुद्धा आपण पुरवठा नियम अभ्यासले. हे स्पष्टीकरणाच्या ह्या किती बाजू आहेत? दोन बाजू. देयर आर टू साइड्स ऑफ द एक्सप्लेनेशन. फर्स्ट इज द एक्सप्लेनेशन विथ द हेल्प ऑफ टेबल और शेड्यूल, मीन्स सप्लाई शेड्यूल, and explanation with the help of supply. Go first, supply schedule. Okay, so there are two columns of supply schedule. Okay, so first is price of commodity X in bracket rupees, and second quantity supply in kilograms, okay, or in units. So price of commodity 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, okay. So quantity 7 kilogram, 100 units or 200, 300, 400, 500. Very simple. So the main statement to the law of supply is when price rises, quantity supply also rises, and when price falls, quantity supply also falls. So in this table or in this schedule, when price of commodity at rupees 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, it is the increasing price. In this schedule table, here is the price rises. So when price rises, so quantity supply in kilograms also rises or increases in units. 100 kilogram, 200 kilogram, 300 kilogram, 400 kilogram, 500 kilogram. It means that types of supply schedule indicates or shows that there are direct relationship between the price and quantity supply, because of when price rises 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and then quantity supply also rises 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. Is that clear? It means the price of commodity rises from rupee 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Also quantity supply also increases or rises from 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 kg, because of there are means this schedule shows there are direct relationship between the price and quantity supply. What is the meaning of direct relationship? When price rises, quantity supply also rises, and when price falls, quantity supply also falls. Is that clear? So the law of supply is explained with the help of this table or schedule. Y, O, X. So y-axis indicate or represent price of commodity in bracket rupees, and x-axis indicate or represent quantity supply in kilograms. Okay, so price 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. So rupees 10, rupees 20, rupees 30, rupees 40 and rupees 50. This is the rising price or increasing price: 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. So when price rises, quantity supply also rises, represents on x-axis 100, 200, 300, 400 and 500. It's 100 kg, 200 kg, 300 kg, 400 kg and 500 kg. Okay, So you have plotted that point on graph when price of commodity rupees 10. So quantity supply 10, 100. Okay, 10 and 100. This is the first point. Then price of commodity 20, quantity supply 200. Look at that. Then price of commodity rupees 30, quantity supply 300. ओके, आता या ठिकाणी हे जे पॉइंट तुम्हाला दिसण्यासाठी मी मोठे करतोय. तुम्ही ज्यावेळेस नोटबुक मध्ये किंवा परीक्षेमध्ये लिहित असताना ते थोडेसे असं गोल पेन्सिलच्या साहाय्याने केल्यानंतर ते बरोबर येईल काय प्रॉब्लेम नाही. Then price of commodity is 40, quantity supply 400 kg. बरोबर त्या लाईनवर आलेला आहे. And price of commodity 50, so quantity supply 500. So join that point means price and quantity supply. We get SS is the supply curve. SS is the supply. So join that line means price to quantity supply. Price to quantity supply. Price to quantity supply. Is that clear? Okay. Means 10, 100, then 20, 200, then 30, 300, then 40. Look at that. Here is the already line of 400, and 50, 500. So we get the SS is equal to supply curve, CURVE, supply curve. ओके, आणि ही कोणत्याही प्रकारच्या अर्थशास्त्रामध्ये डायग्राम काढण्याची सोपी पद्धत मी तुम्हाला सांगितलेली आहे. अशा पद्धतीने तुम्ही डायग्राम काढायचे, ऐकून घ्या. आणि ते पॉइंट डिमांड कर्व असा कसा स्लोप कसा आहे, डाउनवर्ड फ्रॉम लेफ्ट टू राईट, आणि हा वेगळा आहे. म्हणजे मागणीचा वक्र आणि पुरवठ्याचा वक्र याच्यामध्ये टोटली काय आहे, भिन्नता पण समजण्यासाठी ते सोपं आहे. ओके, फक्त हे बिंदू निश्चित करताना आकृती काढताना शक्यतो तुम्ही वहीमध्ये जेव्हा आपण नोट्स देणार आहोत त्यावेळेस पट्टी, पेन्सिल आणि खोड रबर याचा वापर करायचा आहे. तर थोडं चुकलं तर त्याच्यावर इन दी डायग्राम सो एक्सप्लेनेशन of the law of supply with the help of A group supply schedule and B group explanation with the law of supply with the help of supply curve. And that types of the curve we have draw on the graph with the help of supply schedule. So in this diagram, in this, okay, y-axis indicate the price of commodity in bracket rupees, and x-axis indicate means represent, दर्शवलेलं आहे, दाखवलेलं आहे. लक्षात आलं ना? किंवा त्यामध्ये व्यक्त केलेलं आहे. म्हणजे y अक्षावर काय आहे किंमत आणि x अक्षावर काय आहे क्वांटिटी सप्लाय. आणि एक लक्षात ठेवा, तुम्ही किती प्रकारचा सुंदर डायग्राम काढला आणि तुम्ही इथे हे प्राइस आणि इथं क्वांटिटी सप्लायने लिहिलं तर यामध्ये तुमचा अर्धा मार्क्स बोर्डामध्ये कट होण्याची शक्यता नकारता येत नाही. म्हणून काळजीपूर्वक पहिले y-o-x हे काढल्यानंतर पुढची आकृती किंवा डायग्राम कंप्लीट करण्या अगोदर तुम्हाला y axis indicate the price of commodity in bracket rupees and x axis indicate the quantity supply in bracket kg असेल. Okay, so various types of the point means 10, 100, 20, 200, 30, 300, 40, 400, 50, 500 plotted in this diagram. So means that point plotted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we have joined that point, means joined that point with the help of that line. We have joined that point and we have get the SS curve, and the meaning of SS is the supply curve. S-U-P-P-L-Y-C-U-R-V-E, supply curve. And so that the main features of that curve are the slope of supply curve, means this SS slope, S-L-O-P-E, means slope of supply curve upward from left to right. Okay, the slope of supply curve upward from left to right, because of there are direct relationship between the price and quantity supply. Okay, it means in simple language that the positive slope of supply curve. Okay, positive, and in demand curve there are negative slope, and in this section, so the slope of supply curve is the positive because of there are direct relationship between the price and quantity supply. Is that clear? So what is the main feature? The main feature of supply curve is the slope of supply curve is upward from left to right. So because of there are direct relationship between the price and quantity supply. In other words or in other language, so the slope of supply curve is the positive, or SS supply slope is the positive slope or positive, not negative. So, and finally write the last line in this below the diagram. There are direct relationship between the price and quantity supply. Is that clear? Okay, so here is the end of explanation with the help of table or schedule, or explanation with the help of diagram or supply curve. This is the supply schedule and this is the supply curve. So both supply schedule or supply curve indicate the what is the main statement of the law of supply, means other thing being equal, other thing being constant, higher the price of commodity, more is the quantity supply, and lower is the price of commodity, less is the quantity supply, because of there are direct relationship between the price and quantity supply. So my dear students, today we have studied how many points to the law of supply. First of, introduction to the law of supply, statement to the law of supply, then explanation with the help of supply schedule, and explanation with the help of supply curve. So tomorrow we are tomorrow will be studied what is the main assumptions and what is the main exceptions to the law of supply. Thank you.